The universal credit system is repulsive, quite frankly, and the only people defending it are loathsome human beings. Esther McVeigh, in an almost bit of honesty, came out and said recently, yes, some families will be worse off. We have seen under Esther McVeigh's talons that families are ending up on the streets because of her universal credit system. We have seen homelessness skyrocket, and we've seen a number of charities, the stories that came out just this week, that have been told to shut the hell up when they start telling people about the number of homeless that's rising in this country. The average household is £40 short a week of providing basic lifestyle. And yet Jacob Rees-Mogg says, well, people just aren't working hard enough. Jacob Rees-Mogg has 2 jobs, and his second job pays him just shy of £500 an hour. So if he can do it, well, surely everyone else who works 2, 3, 4 jobs is just being lazy. Okay. For the Rees-Moggs of the world, they were born into privilege. The only reason they have money is because they were born into a family with money. And it's the same for Esther McVeigh, and to a much lesser extent, Theresa May, which I'm about to touch on. Now, Theresa May, just after Esther came out and admitted that some families will be worse off, the reality is, of course, everyone is worse off except for Esther McVeigh and the bosses that she put in charge, because they get a bonus from this. But Theresa May has flat out denied that people are going to be worse off, still holding to this nonsensical view that everyone in the UK is absolutely fine, that no one is homeless, that everyone is employed. The reality is, of course, they've just changed the definition of a few things that lowers the number of unemployment. The number of people without a job hasn't actually changed, but they've reconfigured a few things so they can technically say, well, we now have less technically unemployed people. It's not true at all. We have more unemployed people now than we did before, but we've just changed the definition slightly. And Theresa May doubles down on this idyllic view of the UK that I wish I lived in. But I don't and you don't. Homelessness now is at the highest it's ever been. Children that are going without food. Families are sleeping on the street. Teachers are severely underpaid, making less than 25,000 a year in some parts of the country, while Theresa May is on 77 plus a year, plus travel expenses that no one else seems to get, plus food allowance that other people don't get. I mean, hell, I work in a care home and I don't even get a food allowance. Number of police has been cut over and over again, despite officers saying to her in a very public and respectful format, look, if you keep cutting, it leaves us open to a number of attacks, which it has done. Fire and rescue. Now, when I think of fire and rescue, I think of Boris Johnson's magnificent little talk when he was being told, look, if you cut fire and rescue in London, it's going to lead to more fires. It's going to lead to more deaths. What happened? That's right, Grenfell. And a number of others. Why? Because while fire prevention is a fantastic thing, don't get me wrong on that whatsoever, fires are still going to happen. And if you haven't got the infrastructure to deal with that, people will die. A lot of people, in fact most of the Grenfell survivors, are still without a permanent home because Theresa May has no interest in serving the people of this country. Her only interest is making her bank balance bigger and bigger. Coming out strong against the Saudi crown prince, and yet we are still selling arms to the man who murders children. Theresa May's days should be numbered. But, and this is where I have to laugh whenever I see something that I keep seeing actually recently, 72 hours. May has 72 hours to regain the confidence of her party, or she'll be dethroned. I added that last bit for a dramatic effect, but that is a headline that I keep seeing, and hell, if I am wrong, I will throw my hands up and admit that I am wrong and she is out. But here's the thing. Over 2 years ago, this country, in my opinion, made a mistake because we listened to a bunch of liars and we elected to leave the European Union. I'd say the unforeseen events of this, but they were very clear. The piss poor campaign to motivate people to stay in the EU told us that food was going to increase. The price of food would increase. A negative effect on every single way possible. Now, I don't love the European Union, and I do believe it needs to be reformed, but we certainly have a lot of benefits from it, more than what we actually put into it. But here's the thing. We voted to leave over 2 years ago. In theory, in November, we have to have the trade deal, we have to have the final thing done and sorted so that it can be implemented like that on the day we leave in March, April. What is May done again? That's right. In couple of months ago, she started thinking about, this Brexit thing, that's actually an issue. The reason why I don't think May will be kicked out of 10 Downing Street, at least not if the Conservatives can actually help it, is because there is no win for whoever takes number 10. Now, Boris Johnson, I've criticised him endlessly, and I will probably continue to do that as long as he has a podium, because the man is scum. He can't be stupid enough to take number 10, considering that everything he has done in his adult life has been based on, hey, will this make me look good? Jacob Rees-Mogg, a two-faced, slimy snob, born on third, thought he hit a home run, silver spoons coming out of everywhere, thinking that people are poor because they just don't work hard enough. He's not likely to take number 10 either, at least not at the moment, because Brexit will not end well. So the shit show that Theresa May is forcing on the United Kingdom, this attack on the people of the UK, whether you're a national, whether you're an immigrant, whether you're an asylum seeker, if you live in this country, you are being attacked if you're not a multi-millionaire, because that's who Theresa May is. That's who her party is. And her popularity isn't really going to play into this, because while most of her party would happily see her gone, it's the person who's going to replace her who will be screwed because of Brexit. If we had voted to remain in the UK, in the EU, well, David Cameron would still be Prime Minister. But assuming that he stepped down and that Theresa May got her shot, she would have been out a long time ago. She's still in because of Brexit. Because there is no political advantage for anyone taking her seat right now. After, well, we'll see. And certainly if the DUP pulls support because they cannot get their shit together and sort out the Irish border, well, we'll see. Because that might trigger a general election, at least. At least might trigger another Conservative election. But we'll see. For the moment, we're stuck with a Prime Minister who has learned all the wrong lessons from Donald Trump. Lie, cheat, and fuck over everyone who is not a multi-millionaire. That's Theresa May. That's Esther McVeigh. That's Jacob Rees-Mogg. That's Michael Gove. And hell, that's Boris Johnson. That's our government, right there. So we'll see where this goes.